All right, so welcome to another week. Another not week. We're still on week one. Welcome to another game of Overwatch Pretenders. The final day of week one. There we go. We're going to be having Lightbringers versus Mercury Cougars. I am Sly, and I'm joined by.
And I am Threepwood. Welcome once again. Oh, jeez. I don't really know what to say. The Overwatch World Cup's been going on. We got to cast a really awesome game earlier in the week. I'm just so excited. I used to play, having played in Overwatch Pretenders before, going up against both the Lightbringers and Mercury Cougars is not a fun time. So watching these two teams beat the heck out of each other is going to be pretty enjoyable.
I mean, that's what we're here for, right?
Yeah.
Looking to get a few more lobby things sorted out. It's hard to analyze anything when it is week one. Both these teams 0-0. We did randomize to Numbani instead of Hollywood, so we will be starting there. Not my favorite map. I'm just gonna
Really?
be blatantly honest about that. I hate Numbani.
Wow. Well, now that's to be fair. Numbani isn't exactly a. I've never liked the middle of Numbani. Defending on the first point or attacking the first point, always kind of fun. Middle, I always feel is just a gimme. Like, let's just get our ult economy set up for the final point. I don't think I've ever held or failed to take the second point. I mean, sorry, I'm sure it's happened before. We'll say those are the immense outliers.
Plenty of holds on second point happened during round 3 and 4, but yeah, the first rounds, no.
Yeah, once you get that sweet overtime. Now, the one thing we can say though,
Yes.
Lightbringers going into this match, just taking a look at their roster, they have a lot of flex players. Not a lot of dedicated DPS and not a lot of dedicated support. Meanwhile, Mercury Cougars has exactly 0 flex players. And now, while I'm sure those players are capable of playing other heroes, they seem to have their roles pretty well locked in.
It'll be interesting to see how that contributes to how each of these teams take on the first point, because there's a lot of different ways to defend that and a lot of different ways to attack first point.
Yeah,
Lots of different ways to get to high ground. You got the low ground, you just run it up main. You got far left, is many different ways to attack that.
Yeah, do you play turtle up? Do you on the attack? Do you take the left side? Do you go under the building? Do you go right? Like you said, you got to play with the high ground. Do you ignore the high ground? Does one particular team have a Widowmaker that they want to take advantage of? Because this has a starting point and a middle with some really great sightlines to play with.
Also, Pharah's fairly popular on those first point, I
Widow
would say.
Pharah. So it looks like we are still going to take care of some roster fun.
Maybe.
And it looks like Mercury Cougars have settled on their starting lineup.
Is that going to be our 6? Are we done getting faked out here? Maybe.
Come on, Wombat. Come on, baby. Come through for us. Yes!
I would feel this time to talk a little bit about standings and whatnot, but none of the teams in this the Overwatch Pretenders separated into 2 divisions of 6 teams. None of the teams in Mercury Cougars and Lightbringers division have actually played yet. All of them are playing today.
Yep. It is going to be a jam-packed Friday. It's a shame we can't bring all of the games going on tonight to tonight, but we are going to have to settle with what is definitely going to be an excellent matchup. And it looks like a pause in the start has started again.
Well, Big Daddy coming in for Wombat.
They need to get a coach in there. Sounds like one of the team's coaches is missing. Now, as we've mentioned before, Overwatch Pretenders does not permit, even though it is an amateur league for learning, does not permit coaches to listen in on team comps while the game is going on. But during halftime, the coaches will be permitted to converse and strategize with their teammates over the past couple matches, what they liked, what they didn't like, and how to move forward into the next 2 maps.
We are trying to get that coach in so that can help during halftime, but there's a lot of spectators in here. We gotta weed some people out.
I do appreciate the technical difficulties in organizing a custom game like this. Overwatch didn't exactly make it easy with the spectator limits, also with the default being 2. But I suppose Blizzard did what they could. Maybe that'll be an upcoming feature coming in a few days where we get.
They're working on it. Have you tried out the spectator stuff for World Cup yet?
I didn't have a chance to do it today. I'm looking forward to taking advantage of it tomorrow for the semi and grand finals, and then also to review some of the games that I missed, like the ones going on right now.
Yep. If you are here watching this, we appreciate you very much.
Not only do we appreciate you, but you made the smart decision. You can easily watch the World Cup games with the Overwatch Cup World Cup viewer. Whew, that's a mouthful. And then
Got it.
you can catch this game live. Best of both worlds. So, while we have the free time, big Overwatch news got dropped. Not necessarily the news we wanted if you were looking forward to a new game mode, but we got the new hero announcement. Ashe.
Love Ashe.
Not Ashe from Evil Dead.
Not Ashe from League of Legends.
But an Ashe nonetheless. She looks like a combination of a high accuracy hit scan with Junkrat level mobility.
Does the dynamite make her mobile like that?
Her sawed-off shotgun does.
The shotgun? Okay.
Yeah,
it's just the shotgun.
Yeah, the shotgun can push her away from people. It can boost her up into the air.
It's got quite a bit of vertical mobility with that. It's on a lot longer cooldown than most of the movement abilities in the game, though, which worries me a little bit.
Right. Now, Junkrat, of course, having the major leg up in that regard, having not only 2 charges to his mind, but also a pretty swift cooldown. And it looks like we are up... Djibouti. Come on, boy. We are, once again, having some technical difficulties.
There's a lot of confusion when you got all 12 spectator slots filled up.
Yeah, and it's no lie to say that if Mercury Cougars were to bring their whole roster to bear, there would literally not be enough room for everyone. Which is, great for Mercury Cougars to have that kind of sub-potential. It lets you run some really specialized comps and have players focus on heroes that they really want to work on.
All right, there's one ready. There's the other ready. We're entering the game. All right. I'm excited for this. I doubt that we'll have another best of 5 all the way to last round on Busan like we did earlier in the week, but one can definitely hope.
Yeah, Sly, do you have any prediction for tonight? Now, I know these two teams are probably a little different from how they were in Season 1.
Gosh.
But I think my money's going to be on Mercury Cougars.
Well, I'll just do it based off immediately right now. Okay, they're both trolling me with Torbjorn. Actually, it looks like Lightbringers is actually going to run the Torb with the...
All right, Lightbringers coming out on defense. They will be running that Torbjorn with a Widowmaker, which is super interesting.
Widow, what a DPS duo.
So now you have the turret bringing that lovely ambush detecting hit scan, as well as some projectile and bursting from Torb. And of course, if Dork pulls through on the Widow, that could be a serious combo to contend with.
There's definitely a lot of angles you can play with this. I feel like they're going to be playing all over the high ground with this comp.
Yeah, and there it is. The turret gets set up on the back left of the point. Going to be super interesting to see how the Mercury Cougars are going to deal with that and where the secondary turret location gets set up if they decide that's not going to be good anymore.
Comp you dread to see in comp.
Yeah.
What's the most effective way to deal with this? Does look like they're all going to be playing on this far back high ground, though.
And speaking of God Save the Queen, UK, we are seeing that Sombra Doomfist come out for Mercury Cougars. Papa on Sombra taking the far left flank, going way behind the Lightbringers. Lightbringers setting up on the high ground with the Orisa. Looks like they're just going to beat Mercury Cougars onto the point, not even going to contest their approach.
Yeah, you definitely fight from the high ground as long as possible.
Especially with that Orisa. Mercury Cougars running static dive, going in there.
They're just going to run straight into the choke.
They're going to take that high ground right from them in an all-out brawl in the tunnel. Missiles going out, cooldowns getting spent. Spidey on the Doomfist going back, hunting the Torbjorn, finds him. Winston then diving the backline once again. Dork manages to get away, but I think he's going to get taken. He manages to get out, and it looks like Big Daddy on the Winston gets wiped. The Mercury Cougars just bleeding heroes.
Yeah, they are. Lightbringers doing a good job falling back there, dropping the point at the correct time with that Torb turret down there to help them out, and they're gonna they're gonna win that despite losing the initial pick. Puppe still around here trying to find that information.
Which is really, really interesting. I don't think Puppe ever actually joined the fight. I think Puppe stayed hidden the whole time just to let them gain
remember a hack
ults.
going down. Yeah, so despite that looking like it was a 5v6, it was actually a 5v5 the whole time.
Which actually speaks really well to Mercury Cougars' ability to fight that fight. They were at a disadvantage the whole time. Still managed to build up some considerable ult charge. Here they come in now with a nano boost. Doofus missing the first initial thing. Boost goes in on Winston, and here come the picks, but it looks like Spidey's the first actual hero to fall. But there goes the Torbjorn, and I think Mercury Cougars is going to start rotating back onto the point as Puppe enters the fight now. Ooh, the Abyssal comes out, and I think that's going to be a lot of damage, more damage than Mercury can handle.
Yeah, that Orisa ult just staying there just fine while the Diva's sleeping, not being able to take that out. Gives enough time for the Primal Rage to be taken down. Got that shield for the Diva Bomb. That's going to be another successful defense. And these fights, very long, and it takes them a while to get to the next fight. 2 fights all...
Yeah, Mercury has already spent half their time now to take point A, and it's really interesting to see D.Va throw out. There was definitely an ult to a switch, because now it looks like Mercury Cougars switching up to a much more standard, traditional Rein Zarya. Still keeping the Sombra Doomfist. DPS not really in line with what you're going in, unless that Rein and Zarya are going to be very aggressive, and that Lucio is going to let them do that.
I'm very interested as to how they're going to follow up this EMP, because Rein and Zarya aren't going to be the best at... Forebear's looking for a cheeky boop, doesn't quite get it there, and they are going to slowly walk up with this Reinhardt shield.
And they're still going to contest them directly on the high ground. Doofus comes in, forces the ult from D.Va, survives it, starts the Meteor Strike, bags all the backline. Widowmaker and Lucio taken down, both tanks. Torbjorn follows, Mercury Cougars takes point A with Naria. How do you do?
The much more slow and steady push pulling out for Mercury Cougars instead of that Winston Diva combo.
And just look at that. The switch came out, and instantly MC was able to take the point, and they are going to start pushing that cart. 3 minutes, 15 seconds left to get it to point B.
You could also say a lot of that was from the EMP Meteor.
Oh, definitely. The combination of just not having any of your cooldowns to spend on evading an ult, and then it looks, oh, we see our first Molten Core of the match. Doesn't do much more than create space, but that's valuable space.
Oh, that's an interesting move. Okay, goodbye, Coxbox. You're going to take... I don't think he wanted both Reinhardts to go down, but that's going to favor Lightbringers for the moment, as Mercury Cougars is staying on, but that's such a long walk back for Big Daddy 2 that they're going to get a little bit of a push here.
Indeed, and now we see Puppe abandoning the Sombra to bring out the Widowmaker, a switch that I definitely approve of, at least in the sense of taking advantage of these great long sightlines. And we have Dort on the McCree, looking for a flank on the left, it seems. Maybe just needing to build some ult. Spidey now on the Hanzo. That's a double sniper comp for Mercury Cougars. Triple if you count the Ana. Fascinating to see how this will play out. No picks coming out from the snipers yet. Oh, big shatter from Big Daddy, just when he was about to die, but it gets the... Really just a trade. Trade after trade after trade.
That nade from Cypher was really to stem the bleeding, not being able to keep the tanks up, and also the flanking McCree from Dort pushing them back as well, chunking the Zarya down really early to start that fight, and that's going to have to be a reset.
Yeah, as evidence would have it, despite an amazing ultimate from Big Daddy, Lightbringers just holds it perfectly.
There's only so much you can do as a Rein when you get the big shatter, but you're only on 100 HP left.
Yeah, his entire team was pretty far behind him too. Difficult to follow up on that, but now the Nano comes out. A perfect counter shatter from Coxbox, but it's not going to do a lot of damage to the Reinhardt. He was major damage resistance and an Ana pocketing him. We now have Xmata in the backline as Tracer. Gets picked off pretty immediately, but the Reinhardt gets pulled out by Coxbox, and Lightbringer starts taking it again. But out of nowhere, Spidey drops a dragon on the cart.
It is a 4v4 right now. Rush part very, very low. We're going to have to keep it safe here. Zarya doing a lot of damage on D.Va. That's a fairly big purple on both sides of the equation. Hide behind the payload. They're perfectly fine. That D.Va's going to get chunked down real fast. Possibly get out of the mech. Nope. Going to stay in for just a moment. And Big Daddy 2 who's back.
Yeah, Cypher on Ana with the grenades has just been absolutely amazingly hitting every member of the Mercury Cougars when they launch it. But just like that, Mercury Cougars managed to turn it around, starting with a nice little Sonic Arrow kill, definitely adding insult to injury on that Lucio. And they just clean up immediately. Again, now finishing the point. Now 2 minutes left. Lightbringers is doing a great job of taking away as much time from Mercury Cougars as possible. Even if they finish the map, I'll wager Mercury is going to end up in overtime, leaving Lightbringers with a really, really contestable map.
Yeah, they could snowball here as they do have the grab versus just what looks like to be a potential shatter.
And now the shatter comes out. Ooh, countered, slept by the Ana on the other side. Ooh, K-Boogie kills himself, taking out the Tracer. Decent trade, but Dork pulls off the Hanzo, and a big shatter comes out from the Cox box. That's it for this push, ladies and gentlemen.
Nano also keeping him nice and topped off, and that's... Mercury Cougars not able to find that grab soon enough before the ults from Lightbringers came back up.
Excellent stagger on Rush paired as well, but now, however, Mercury Cougars is coming back online with 4 ults. Figs may not have the Sonic, the nice little barriers to get ready for this fight, and I think we have a case of the dragons on our hands.
Grab drag, here it comes. It should come here. It should be looking for a big team fight win, and then Lucio beat to clean up the rest of the map.
Looks like they're scoping it out. They've got that nano boost as well. There are no defensive ults on Lightbringer's side to counter this. If it goes out, it's gonna happen.
Forebear's
the Dragons comes out late! Somehow, they still get the tanks though, and that was huge.
Nano also coming a little bit late, probably just to keep Big Daddy up. Chasing the Ana back isn't going to quite get that kill. Nade keeping Cypher alive. Pape winning the Widow duel is going to give them a lot of nice momentum. It's going to be a real challenge for Lightbringers to challenge this.
You're going to be able to touch this, but it looks like with half a minute left, it's going to be up to the Lightbringers to stall for as much time as possible. If they can get the picks in their favor, they can really turn this point around, but I don't think that's going to happen. It's already a 6v5. The barriers come out, the Cox box is down, Rush Parrot, amazing kill, Spidey taking out Dork on the Doomfist. Barriers come in last minute for the Lightbringers, but a shatter knocks Figs to the ground, a sleep arrow comes out to counter that, and a nano on the Diva might give them the stall necessary to push this into overtime.
Especially with the grenade left is definitely going to give the stall needed, and this is going to go to overtime, so Lightbringers will have that for them, but it does look like they're still going to lose this fight, possibly. Yes, there goes down. Both Anas go down, so this is still doable.
It's still super even trading picks.
The Reinhardt swinging on point is doing a lot of damage to everyone. Still not going down. Doomfist barely living. Cooldown rotation does not come back up. Stalling for the rest of his team. He's still up here.
Amazing work.
He's still alive.
This is incredible, and Cypher sat on the Ana in the backline for so long, just not being contested, was able to rain heals down from above. Grab comes out from...
Oh, that's a big grab, big swing in there for Daddy Scoop, and he's gonna have Shatter again. He possibly big Shatter here. No, gets knocked way too far back, and we got the Hammond spinning around.
We have that classic Hammond spinning around the middle. That is just annoying to deal with and really gets into your head. Lightbringer, ooh! If Mercury leaves the point even for a millisecond now, they are going to stop it here and will not be able to finish the map.
Oh, that's a big nade.
And that's going to be it. That was perfect.
I wouldn't say... What was perfect about that?
The grenade!
The grenade was perfect. All right.
The grenade was perfect. The map...
It hit literally everyone in that team fight. But we also have to mention that team fight went on for 2 minutes. Big Daddy 2 just...
So, in all honesty, the Anas, I think, are the MVPs of that match. Hitting their grenades with such incredible accuracy, looking at Cypher just popping the purples off left and right, denying all those tasty heals to Mercury Cougars. I think that's one of the things that really helped draw this map out to its overtime potential.
A lot of fights were not very cleanly won, and that was in large part due to those big purples.
Yeah, now, of course, Rush Parrot kind of got outdone, in my opinion, by his Lightbringer counterpart. But that grenade at the end hit 8 people. All 8 people that were on the cart. Every single one of his teammates, every single one of his enemies, they had to pull out without the heals, and that gives them that precious time needed to push those last 30 meters.
You gotta say, the focus wasn't quite there for Lightbringers. They had all 6 people up there at one point during the OT, but I gotta mention the Rhine just stayed alive on cart that whole time swinging. Got 2 shatters off during that fight.
Oh, definitely and absolutely. It's that target focus in those moments of high adrenaline. Can't get your team together to actually get those picks and turn the tide in the defender's favor. You are going to get snowballed, despite your spawn advantage. That's just inevitable.
So we got some very, very classic dive here coming out from Lightbringers.
Yeah, and Mercury Cougars look like they're going to be doing a counter dive to satisfy any dive fan.
Running the same thing they started out with on offense.
And it looks like we are going to see our first Genji, a Genji Pharah combo. 2 projectile DPS coming in with the Mercy Lucio on the heels. And of course, the Winston Diva to dive. Pharah opening up with those salvos on the high ground. A much looser defense for Mercury Cougars as they're spread out much more loosely along the high ground. Winston just waiting for someone to come in. Doomfist picking his engagement on that high ground, just waiting to use his cooldowns.
Lightbringers looking for a target to pick up, but the Ana's so far back, the initial target, that's who they were looking for, but not able to focus down Spidey. Spidey does get out on the Doomfist, and it looks like they're finally going to try to focus on the Lucio. Coxbox going in.
No picks from either team yet. That Mercy keeping all of their units topped up. Lucio just wreaking havoc. And there come the trades. Coxbox takes out Lucio. Spidey takes out Coxbox on the Widowmaker, Winston. And then the picks just start coming in for Lightbringers. But Spidey on Doomfist answers, taking out Dork on the Genji. And then he's finally eliminated by Diva, but there's just it's such an even fight right now. It's difficult to say where this can go. Absolute brawl.
Forebears does get back on point in time, but immediately goes down again. There's being ult pushed out, and Forebears is still only at 37% to beat, showing you how fast he's dying in these fights. And that's Lightbringers is going to slowly win this fight in a very protracted duel brawl that had a lot of ults already thrown out.
They finished the clock about half a minute faster than the Mercury Cougars did, and that time is going to come in very handy. The Mercury Cougars don't get necessarily split spawn, but they are going to have to get out of there very quickly or they run the risk of getting snowballed by Lightbringers.
Also going to reset their ult economy a little bit, swapping back over to that Rein Zarya after the initial tank lineup doesn't. They are going to have the EMP and Meteor that won them the point in the first place, so we'll see how well they pull that out.
But a preemptive ult from Pharah takes out all the shields. Reinhardt and Brigitte fall. Spidey manages to find the Lucio and K-Boogie on the Pharah. But while all this is going on, the cart moves, but then Spidey takes out Meteor Strike. Unbelievable. Cart progress continues, but now Mercury Cougars have a much more solid defensive line.
That EMP Meteor Strike winning the fight, but Lightbringers still on this card pushing, Mercury not being able to contest without their tank line. Yeah, and that EMP did in that fight. Now Lightbringers wasn't able to use their ults and is going to have 4 going into this next one.
This is going to be really rough. I like that Puppet switched back onto the Widowmaker for this defense. I think they'll get a lot more mileage out of the Sombra, especially against that Pharmacy. But it looks like the Lightbringers are just categorically annihilating Mercury Cougars one by one. They get the shatter out.
That's a huge
shatter on the Lucio backline. The Pharah manages to take back off, but Big Daddy Toot with a 3K. Dork answers with his blade, but this cart is stopped. Pharah manages to keep it going, but Mercury Cougar...
A Dork going in right now on the backline. This fight in favor. Exmod is still going in. The switch to Soldier from Spidey from the Doomfist is going to take him out. And I'm looking for them to start recontesting here. Maybe if they take out Dork, that'll be the signal to go. But the Mercy Pocket and the Fletch is going to keep him up for the moment.
Mercury Cougars playing this defense more like a deathmatch and less like a hybrid map. They really need to get on that cart and stop it from moving. I know we talked about how this is all gimme point for the offense, but they've been giving up way too much ground and way too much time.
Well, they are going to contest right at the end with that grab. Is going to beat out the Lucio beat with the purple. And they're finally going to have a fight that they win that still has the Rhine at a reasonable amount of HP to contest the payload.
I freely admit that every time I start talking about something, it seems the opposite happens. I start talking about MC's pushback, Dork comes in and kills the entire backline. I start talking about MC not contesting, they clear the point. So well done, Mercury Cougars. Let's see how they come in now. Looks like a cautious diving engage from Lightbringers, setting up their own Widowmaker now with Xmata, looking to gain some high ground, maybe start that Widow duel. No picks yet, both teams just picking away at each other's shields. Poking, and Papa wins the Widow duel, taking out Xmata with a single bop to the head. Widowmaker, of course, brings it up, but Spidey going deep with that sight.
That was a very aggressive sight.
Oh, and right when the shatter came out, too, he gets a bunch. K-Boogie follows it up. Winston and Lucio fall, and that's going to be the end of this push, with Xmata lost on the bus way behind enemy lines. See if they can get out of there.
On the bus for a little bit. Does look like he's going to be able to get out. Takes long enough that Puppe should be able to get back in time to contest at a reasonable point. I'd like to see Big Daddy fall back a little bit while they don't have their Widow support.
This is interesting. It looks like they're going to play a full contest on the point, and ooh, Bomb takes out Ana in the backline with Dork ripping it up with the blade. He doesn't manage to find anyone, but I think the over damage helps them rip down the Reinhardt. Exmata finds the last tank, and it looks like Lightbringers are just going to snowball this all the way through. Like you said, without Puppet in that backline to support that fight, the ults just came in and ruined everything for everyone on the Mercury Cougars team forever. Lightbringers take the point, and now it's 2:48 left to push it through to the end.
Still keeping that extra 30 seconds that Mercury Cougars had on their offense, so it's very, very tightly contested throughout the map. Lightbringers did push a lot of Q buttons during that last fight, so I would think that they don't have this next fight handled down unless a big nano comes out.
If they're playing their ult economy, this is definitely going to be a push, a dry push for them. Try to build some ult charge, do some damage. It looks like they're going to spend the Winston ult anyways, not really anything happening.
Ooh, that's a good bump into Zarya, but bumps her right back.
Bumps her right back out. That's one of those positioning things you see when... Oh, but Exmata takes Spidey, and it's a trade then. Coxbox also gets ripped down. Nano gets put on the Reinhardt, and that's going to be a lot of angry German engineering coming straight at you.
A lot of swinging on that point. It's going to force Lightbringers all the way back to spawn. Exmata looking to have the support of his team. And Lightbringers just looking at maybe having a beaded Genji blade to win this next fight. But that's going to be... That's going to be hard to do against the CC ultimates of Grav, Shatter, and the Nano Visor even. Not the Nano Visor, just the Visor.
Yeah, Mercury, but they're leading with the sound boost, and it looks like they're just going to get met by the Grav. That's going to keep them alive as damage in for Mercury Cougars at all to get through that Rhine shield. They trade tank for a DPS, and that's definitely going to favor the Lightbringers now that they have the Rhine to lead the charge. But Puppet in the backline eliminates the McCree at the trade for themselves, but that gives the Lightbringers time to push past the push.
Was the well called out. Mercury Cougar immediately collapsed on that, and then that's going to be the end of the fight there.
Once again, the Anas proving their ability to determine a fight with a single grenade. And that's going to be 1 minute left for the Lightbringers. Now, once again, Mercury Cougars bringing 3 ults into the fight. They have yet to build even halfway to a Grav on Lightbringers' side, but Reinhardt is looking at a Shatter, and my guess is they're going to try and preempt that.
We've got some Shatter Wars about to happen here. I'm very excited to watch this.
Watching Rhines try to bait... Oh, but an early Shatter comes out! Coxbox blocks the Shatter from... Blades going on the backside. Sights! Oh no!
Oh, the
Soldier
flanking.
got the backlight in their sights.
The flanking Sights putting in so much work, and that is going to win the fight, countering that Blade that tried to take out Mercury Cougar's backline, and gonna slowly win this fight out.
Yeah, the tank's trying
to
to
get
stay
back
alive.
to point fast.
They need to hurry. The tank's trying to stay alive rather than pulling out immediately. Bad move. They may not spawn in time to actually make this push.
I mean, Lucio and Doomfist are going to be able to touch here, but oh, that's another nade.
Ana deciding fights before they even begin. Rush Parrot finds Exmata on the McCree.
Oh, another big block.
Right into a shield. Nothing happens. A Grav goes out on the point. This time the Reinhardt is there to swing into it nanoed. Big Shatter comes out. Puppa finds the Diva mech with the bomb. Lightbringers maintaining a great presence on the cart. Sleeping Big Daddy woken up and murdered immediately by Exmata on the Tracer. Puppa finding Dork. But Lightbringers have the advantage right now. Mercury Cougars may need to reset and just get ready for their final fight.
They definitely need to reset with a tank here, as Lightbringers is currently without one, but the Rhine is coming here very soon. The Baby Diva does remech, and we are looking at one more fight right at the end of the tournament.
Now Spidey switches over to the Brigitte, which is going to give her a good method.
Oh, that's a huge...
The grenade comes out again! Massacring with purples. Zarya Bubble negates that, but it does the damage as Dork finds Puppa on the Tracer. Exmata finds K-Boogie's Zarya. Big Daddy manages to take out the enemy Reinhardt, but right now the kills are going in Lightbringer's favor.
Oh, I don't know about waking up the Rhine there. Definitely one, I believe. And the armor coming out on point is going to keep a lot of Mercury Cougars up. Big Daddy with another hammer down, charging up so much from the Nano. Beat comes out to keep Lightbringers in this, and Big Daddy's finally going to go down. Diva Bomb on point is going to force the Zarya Bubbles out. That's a huge... Now follow up on it. It looks like they might.
And Aeon Nova managed to murder someone as Baby Diva while they jumped out of mech, but it might not be enough. Dork, however, pulling in the after hours overtime, murdering everyone with the tanks on the point.
Oh, here comes the hammer.
That hamster
spin around on starts. Meteor Strike doesn't find the Hammond, which is probably what they were looking for. I don't know what
miss shatter. No one gets it.
No, not a big shatter. Dort's
Lucio
doing
gets
a
ripped
lot
apart.
of good damage. That charge on the Lucio is pretty big. Hammond finally gets taken out. Another fist onto the Zarya, and Lightbringers are going to win. Another OT fight all the way to the end, won by the offense.
Once again, Reinhardt swinging his hammer on the cart. Either you deal with it, or he kills all your teammates. So, since this is a particularly rare occasion, we get to see the excellent overtime mechanics of hybrid maps. In this instance, both teams finish the map in overtime, meaning both teams get exactly 1 minute to complete the entire map. Now, the most ideal situation for the defenders in this case is to get a full hold on the first point, meaning that their follow-up attack only has to take a single third of that point. That is going to put a lot of onus on the defenders, as they will be defending first, and if they can hold this point, if they can just hold it.
Mercury Cougars coming out with a different look than what they initially had. We got the good old triple support, triple tank.
And on Lightbringer's side, we have that classic dive with a Widow. We saw this a lot in the Overwatch League stages when Widowmaker was super strong and Genji was super strong.
Got that defensive dive. I don't know how well this is going to deal with Mercury Cougars, who are definitely just looking to brawl it out on point.
They're definitely running the classic GOATS composition, and the Dork performance on Widowmaker. I'm much more impressed with their Genji. This is going to be difficult for them to put up the picks necessary to keep the GOATS pressure off.
Going around the long way, I love this. They're going to get on the point.
Here comes the sound boost ready, and...
Wait, they're going high. I don't know if I agree.
Again.
I don't know if I agree with this. I think you just make the fight you 1 point.
GOATS is supposed to set up and run, but let's see if Mercury Cougars can make it work. Charging right into that deep, giving Widowmaker on...
Definitely looking for the supports here, trying to go right for Cypher and Figs.
It looks like they're rotating to the point now, less out of intention, more out of necessity, as Lucio boots them all off the high ground. Zarya gets purpled in the back and gets annihilated, but Mercury Cougars picks up the slack, taking out both the Ana and the Genji on Lightbringer's side. Coxbox now Winstoning on the point, gets annihilated by a fire strike. D.Va left defending as Lucio falls, Dork falls, and it looks like the first point is going to go to the Mercury Cougars. This is huge.
Puppey just kept on Dork and just did not let him anything during that fight. Not able to get the free fire from the Widow onto the GOATS point on comp. D.Va doing her job, and we got the good old OT push.
Now, no time is going to be added to the clock at any point during this push now. And they are switching to a pirate ship! Oh, yes! Bashed! The first Bashed on this map of the season for me, at least. As Puppa switches over to the
around the corner for that, looking for the boost on the point. Oh, Doomfist immediately gets melted. D.Va already using most of her Matrix is going to leave this. Puppey just shredding everyone currently with his
Shatter
Bastion.
gets blocked entirely. Nothing happens, but Puppet just continues to shoot its gun. D.Va bomb catches both tanks! Massive! But there's no Lightbringer follow-up except for the D.Va, who gets swiftly denecked and summarily ignored.
Yep, that is waiting probably a little bit too long to deal with that Bastion. Doomfist also immediately getting blown up there was huge for Mercury Cougars, and with the OT spawns, I don't know if Lightbringers is going to have a real good shot at defending the rest of this point.
Their best option is definitely going to be to blow away the members of Mercury Cougars on the cart, as if they leave it for even a millisecond again, they are going to halt their progress. But they take the... Oh, they're so close to the point! But Reinhardt falls, and the boost come out from Lucio, and there's the Pharah raining down justice. The shields go, a res comes in, and... Big shatter! Amazing! Lightbringers cleans up. There's no way that the Mercury Cougars can recover from this, and it's all over for that push.
I'm very impressed that worked out from Lightbringers. They went in with 4 while D.Va and Mercy were still coming in and managed to get the ults to go in their favor. That res also coming up big to slightly counteract the fact that they went in 4v6 and lost 1 member immediately, and able to stop that right before the second point is taken. But still, minute left, that was a very solid push.
Absolutely massive. And like you said, Mercy as a healer is not as ridiculously powerful as she used to be. Therefore, the one thing that sets her apart from any other support character in the game that res. Pulling that off on the cart, on the Lightbringers side, just after Farah rips apart the enemy Reinhardt is massive. And as we can see, that stopped Mercury Cougars in their tracks, but that was not an insignificant amount of distance on the cart. If Mercury Cougars makes their hold here on 1 minute, which is definitely doable, and they have already done it, then Lightbringers will lose this map. But it's definitely possible that Lightbringers can pull out exactly what MC just did. Now, however, this is a very, very, very interesting defense coming out from Mercury Cougars. 2 projectile damage dealers.
Very, very new looks from both teams. Play out. Something to note about Numbani is that first point is so far away from the attacker spawn that in these 1 minute situations, you really only get one good attack.
Yes, setting up for this kind of team fight takes a bit of time, especially with the high ground concerns. By the time you actually get to the point, you've only got about 40 seconds left to fight, and the Faras are in the sky. Fighting has begun. Each one with their own mercies. And 1 direct hit onto Papa, but their mercy pops him up.
You gotta hit 2 of those in a row, which is very difficult to do.
But it looks like they're starting to separate. But Rush Pair, while Xmata was busy, manages to pick the Farah out of the sky, gets rezzed immediately, but that's a resource they don't have anymore. Ooh, Cougars pulls him down again.
Is going to be able to get there to res. Looks like he will be able to, but while he's doing that, the rest of Lightbringers is going to take out a lot of Mercury Cougars.
And here we go. It's almost the exact same situation playing out. The picks open the door, and there's just not enough time for Mercury Cougars to even mount a collectible defense. They just get summarily annihilated, and it's time for Lightbringers to begin their overtime push. Now, we saw immediate hero swaps for Mercury Cougars. It looks like Lightbringers are sticking to their guns, leaving the off healer on the cart and moving up with 5 heroes to try and force 2 fights out of the affair.
Yep, you definitely want to get the rest of this barrage onto the Farah, but the Widow is going to do its job from Puppet, forcing out the res. We'll have that for another 30 seconds.
Dragon's coming out, that's a lot of damage.
Doesn't quite find anyone, but it does force Coxbox into a weird position where Puppet is able to pick him off. Puppet getting another kill, and it's currently 6v4. Mercury Cougars should just push on the point right now at spawn.
Puppa switching to the Widowmaker should have been anticipated from the Lightbringers at this point. And Puppa is definitely pulling out superior shots right now. Spidey now picking up the Lucio. Dork in the backline.
Yeah, and a kill, and Widow is huge with the Orisa and D.Va on point. They're not going to be able to push this off here, especially with the Mercy pocketing them. And Lightbringers is going to pull this out from a 4v6 scenario. That's a big meteor strike. Doesn't quite find the damage, but is going to get the cleanup onto Forebears and K-Boogie, and Lightbringers pulling that back from the brink.
And there we go. Mercury Cougars had that fight in the bag, but because Lightbringers was so aggressive with it, they were able to pull their spawns out and test. Now they're pushing the cart, and all they have to do is get exactly to where Mercury Cougars did, and then push it another 100th of a meter.
Looking for that sneaky barrage on the high ground here. All 4 set up. We'll see if it was able to get anyone as they come out from underneath the ledge. Mercury Cougars, are they going to get Infrasight in time to see this?
Nope! Farah gets taken out immediately by Pup on the res. Will it get up in time to get the match? The Brush Justice down. It gets Puppa takes the Farah down, but it's not going to be enough. They clean up the Cougars on the point. They push the point. Puppa on the Widowmaker touches the point. There's a Doomfist left. He gets blocked out, and Lightbringers finish the map, beating Mercury Cougars by 100th of a meter and earning the point.
That Mercy res coming in into ult, get 3.
Oh.
See what Spidey did on the Doomfist here. This is going to be the meteor strike on the first push here, picking off 2 after the EMP, and that's going to be the rest of the fight cleanup from there. Pretty quick take after what was a fairly elongated first point.
What is that healing number on Scythe? 25,887 healing by Cypher, and that wasn't even a third of the team's damage.
I mean, there was a lot of Overwatch played in that game, most of it in overtime.
And there was a lot of grenades. I think the MVP of this match is definitely on a healing grenade.
For certain. So, Lightbringers gonna go 1-0 in the series, but not without a challenge, and this should be a close one throughout.
Yeah, it's absolutely a true statement to say that that was not an easy win for Lightbringers. They had to fight tooth and nail for every scrap of payload and tick on the point. I'm really interested to see how both teams are going to handle this next map, seeing as how now Mercury Cougars gets to pick their home turf.
gets to pick between Oasis and Ilios.
Now, if Mercury Cougars favors the boop comp, I can definitely see them pulling out the Ilios, but it looks like Big Daddy speaks for the team and drops the Oasis bomb.
Very, I'm interested in this. I don't think either of the teams have run a comp that you would really be common to see on City Center or Garden. They've definitely shown the university comps, but this should force some new stuff from each team.
The only thing I can think of is that they definitely want to take more advantage of Papa's Widow. Ilios only affords them 1, maybe 2 rounds where they can pull that off. Also, they could be looking for that Sombra. Sombra does tend to get played on Oasis a bit. Or the Pharah. Pharah is also a great pick for the Oasis maps, and I definitely liked both teams' Pharah, but that does seem to favor Lightbringers more.
Wombat is going to come in Puppet. We'll have to see what that change amounts to.
So no Widow then from Papa, I guess. That takes care of the speculation.
Interested to see what they'll run in place of it here.
Looks like the tanks of K Boogie and Big Daddy Toop are going to stay for Mercury Cougars. Again, we mentioned that Lightbringers' squad is a little sparser than Mercury Cougars. They will not be bringing in any subs. Definitely time for Lightbringers with their players to flex on Mercury Cougars, possibly. We'll see.
Alright, let's see what these initial team comps are coming into this. Are going to be starting on Garden. So, I mean, this middle ground map. You could run the Rhine Zarya, you can run the more Diva Winston style comps, and it looks like Mercury is going to be leaning towards that Rhine Zarya with a McCree this time. Wombat is going to be the reason looks like the McCree is the reason that Wombat is going to be coming in, and we are going to be having the Pharah Farmer C, coming out from Lightbringer. See how well Wombat can do against that. That's a big ask from a McCree to deal with the enemy combo.
Right, now I'm expecting the McCree and the Brigitte to pick, definitely because of that Pharah, and probably an anticipated Doomfist. McCree with his flashbang, definitely well suited to popping him, dropping him, but then Brigitte also picks up that slack while McCree can focus on the Pharah in the sky.
Dork is going to have a heck of a time with this team comp.
This is going to be interesting. I wonder if we'll see, or if we'll see him just utterly dominate. We're about to find out. Both teams ripping out of their spawns. Figs on Lightbringers pulling out that lovely Lucio speed boost to get them onto the point just a bit
looking
faster.
For a long flank here.
And I think he's going to get it as Lightbringers immediately takes high ground. How interesting. Putting their Pharah in the sky and the rest of their team at a decisive altitude advantage over the Mercury Cougars, picking away at each other's shields as Exmada raining down the booms.
Oh,
Fire Strike countering, but nothing really happens. Doomfist, here he comes. Spidey sneaking out the back line. Dork finds him, counters immediately, and we have a Doomfist fight on our hands. Meanwhile, the rest of the team engages. Dork wins the Doomfist duel. Exmada picks up Rush Parrots. Ana Forebears picks up the Winston kill. But I don't think Mercury Cougars have the manpower to finish this out as the Lightbringers finish the mop up.
Nope, that assist from Dork coming in after winning the Doomfist Brawl is going to definitely swing that in Lightbringer's favor after the initial dive also turned out pretty well for them onto Mercury Cougars, and Spidey going to swap from the Doomfist, concede that, and go to the Sombra instead.
I like that pick. I like that pick a lot. That gives you another hit scan to deal with the Pharah, at least harass her a bit, plus the hacks being even more deadly to Pharah. And now here comes Spidey into the backline as Mercury Cougars gets ready to engage. This is a risky move from Spidey as it could lead them to getting discovered too early. But
use
Big Daddy Boop gets booped away from his team. Wombat
definitely going to stay alive there from the Brigitte and Zarya bubble. The High Noon have to trigger fairly early, and that's going to be the go sign for Exmada to go in with the barrage. Doesn't die from pressing it, and very aggressive onto the Rhine is also going to pick him off. Mercury Cougars is on the point, but Lightbringer should get to deal with this.
Up until X
coming out.
Interesting. I don't think that was necessary. Lightbringer up job plenty fine without needing the extra health. Now, Exmada, before they did their business, it was definitely an even fight, but out of nowhere, the Justice rains down, they get more picks. That Pharah dominance is incredible.
The High Noon definitely didn't have the support that it needed, as Big Daddy getting booped out needed the Brigitte heal and the Zarya bubbles, and Wombat activating High Noon after that is going to be very quickly poked out of that situation.
We have the engage once again, or rather lack thereof. Once again, Mercury Cougars seems content to fight on the point. Grab comes out, catches a few, but they're a little separated. No one of the Mercury Cougars can really get to them. Coxbox on the Winston pulls out his Primal Fury, and the kills start coming in. High Noon gets eliminated by Dork, not usually the one you see going after that one, but Dork then starts to do work as Lightbringers continue to rip apart the Mercury Cougars. Kill after kill, they find the Winston. It's still a fight. D.Va gets demec'd, and it looks like Mercury Cougars might be able to pull this out.
That boop onto Big Daddy is huge, though, off the side, and it looks like off of that, Lightbringer is going to be able to win this map 100-0.
And Threepwood's curse strikes again as I say, Mercury Cougar starts to take over the point. A nano goes out on character. Get that. And Lightbringers racks up pick after pick. Wombat, the last surviving member of the Cougars on the team. Overtime goes down, and the first round goes to a decisive Lightbringers victory.
Definitely didn't get the value out of the McCree that round that they were hoping for.
It would have been interesting to see them play a little more reactionary, probably bait the Doomfist out and then jump on him, eliminating one of their highest sources of damage. Instead, Dork was allowed to run free, and run free he did, eliminating many Mercury Cougars many times.
Gonna swap over to the Widow on the more open map to deal with this Pharah that Xmata has been doing a lot of work on so far this series.
Yeah, it's really interesting. We mentioned that the combo of Brigitte and McCree should have been great at dealing with the Doomfist, but as it turns out, they weren't able to split those resources and handle the Pharah, who, uncontested, massacred them.
Alright, once again, we're gonna have that initial Doomfist, see if they meet each other on the flank again. Do have the Winston mobility versus the Reinhardt stationary. Looks like they are going to go up to the high ground to fight this.
Once again, Lightbringers take a decisive altitude advantage. Cougars seem content to fight on the ground. It's not worth killed immediately by Aeon Nova, who then immediately picks up apart Reinhardt.
This dive has been, this dive has been really good from Lightbringers. It's been the focus seems to be there. Definitely throwing Mercury Cougars into disarray, and they need to find an answer for this fairly quickly, because this is very much a different song than what map 1 was.
Lightbringers have been absolutely fantastic in letting their individual players do what they do best. Dork seems perfectly content to duck into enemy lines and murder as much as he can, knowing he's going to get support from his Mercy, who is ultimately just pocketing a Pharah right now.
This Pharah raining down from above, drops a little low, but once again, you just see all of Mercury Cougars kind of looking like, what do we do?
And Dork's Doomfist slips into the backline and completely eliminates the Wombat Widowmaker, and that just completely cripples the Mercury Cougars offense. They're running some kind of dive with a Widowmaker, and that's great, but if the Widowmaker isn't around to get any picks, then the dive is crippled.
That angle from Wombat was definitely a little questionable. Didn't have the best angle onto Xmata in this back area here, and even if he did have a good angle, Dork sniffing him out and protecting his Pharmacy duo.
I like Dork just bouncing up and down on the thing. Do. When is the boys gonna come in? I don't know.
Doomfist, that's definitely an advantageous situation for Doomfist to be in here, and off he goes to the races. Gonna go a little far here, sliding along the edge, but the flank is gonna come out from him and takes out a Wombat, and probably the Ana here too as well.
And all the supports in the backline get taken out as the dives on them, and Mercury Cougars' Spidey McCree picks up that Pharah finally, and
the res is going all your hard work anyway in a fight that you lost, and just kind of add insult to injury at the end, and Mercury Cougars in a situation where they need to just blitz all the way to point.
There's no way that Lightbringers should have gotten into their head after that first map, since they put up such a great defense, but right now the Lightbringers should be in their head because they are utterly annihilating. Mercury Cougars look like they're making a great push on the point. Sound barriers goes out from Lightbringers, and it looks like Coxbox on the Winston has been put asleep. No kills as Xmata, the DPS on Lightbringers, absolutely putting in overtime, ripping apart the backline. Once again, no healing for Mercury Cougars. A bomb comes out late. It's gonna get both the tanks, but D.Va on Lightbringer's side is going to get her mech back immediately as Justice rains down, picking off the tanks again on the Mercury side, and then finally taking down the Tracer. We have Gremlin D.Va left on the point. She will die, it is inevitable, and Lightbringers take the map in the official fastest match of this match.
The two 100-0s not gonna get much cleaner than that. the dive working wonders for them with this Pharah Doomfist DPS duo. And we're gonna get a little Lucio action here.
Ooh, okay, so definitely pulling up. Oh no!
Off she goes.
Right when the bubble ended, too.
All
Perfect
right.
timing for 3 environmental kills total. Again, the DPS clearly represented, rightfully so, in the cards. Exmata on Pharah, Dork on Doomfist. Absolutely massacre.
What a different show from game one. They found a comp that Mercury Cougars definitely doesn't know how to deal with at the moment. Very important that did come during game two, so they do get halftime to try and figure out something to do with this, because I do not see any reason for Lightbringers to run anything else but that.
Right, and it's just absolutely fantastic from Lightbringers to take the map that Mercury Cougars theoretically should have won into with an advantage, knowing that they were going to have the strats. Lightbringers just had the answers, showing that their flex really isn't needed, just sticking with their guns, doing what they do best, and cleaning the clocks of the Mercury Cougars.
Well, halftime will be all about seeing if and find an answer. Looks like they're going to have a quick Pictival Sky. Maybe got some with the Vara there, but we will see how that goes coming out of halftime. So I believe we're going to be taking a 10-minute break here while the teams discuss with their coaches things to do different, how to better improve what they've already been doing, and we will catch you guys on the flip side.
This is 3 Wooden Slice signing off for now. I'm ready. Sly.
I'm here.
Word. Are we on? What? Jackpot.
All right. So we're back, and immediately noticed some profile icon synergy going on.
I like that from the Lightbringers.
So
I like that a lot.
definitely definitely some more coordination coming in. We'll see how well that translates into the game here. Lightbringers going to be on defense here first and not going to run their Pharah.
Now, the last time Sly and I were live, this Volskaya coming in as the third, after a team had just taken a swift 2-0, started off what was an almost amazing comeback, ultimately resulting in victory for the Suia team. But, that being said, Lightbringers and Mercury Cougars had a fantastic match on that hybrid Numbani, but then Lightbringers just popped off, annihilating Mercury Cougars on Oasis. 100 to zip, and then 100 to zip again, not even giving them a chance on the point. How do you think this is going to go?
Well, I'm very interested to see Lightbringers guns with the fire. Going to be pulling out something different here to start with. Looks like the Junkrat on defense. And Mercury Cougars going to have the PhD level play of, all right, well, all this stuff wasn't working. Let's just go goats.
Time to go goats. This is definitely going to be an exercise in coordination on requires a lot of sticking together. Junkrat Widowmaker, I love. It's one of my favorite combos. Dork misses his to get up to high ground, and he's now going to have to hoof it, giving Mercury Cougars some uncontested advancing up to the choke.
Gonna need to see Mercury Cougars run right on him here to start and see how well their focus fire is going to pan off here in this first fight. Looks like their focus is on the Rhine. That's a big purple though.
Mercury's engaging very aggressively, exactly the way it goes, and pays off from the Lightbringer side. Exmata killing two people, one with his life and one with his death. The push is kind of stalled, except that Mercury Cougars has the point, and they aren't facing any contest from Lightbringers. And this is the kind of dominance that LB brought in the previous map. Dork completely unable to stop anyone on Mercury Cougars. They take the point inside a minute.
Mercury did lose some members in that initial fight, but taking out the tanks immediately left Lightbringers with nothing to just slowly going to tick that over. However, that did go so cleanly that they're not going to have ults to start this fight, but Coalescence should be coming up here very shortly.
It's possible Reinhardt's will develop shatters in the fight as it goes on. I'd like to say that, but Coxbox's Reinhardt has just been eliminated. Brigitte gets taken out pretty early, and Diva gets DMAX. Here comes a tire from Exmata. Let's see who he gets.
Deal with this tire.
Ooh, that was nasty. Reinhardt and Moira are alone on the point. Moira gets picked off. Reinhardt swinging his heart out. It's not going to amount to much except a really good stagger for Lightbringers.
I would have liked to see Mercury wait just a moment there to get that Coalescence up to start with. Maybe keep their two members alive to start that fight, as the Coalescence did come out after they had already died. Now the ults are a little bit staggered coming from Mercury. They do have the Shatter Bomb though.
Yeah, it's definitely not your ideal snowball situation. That probably would have been better suited as a dry push. Instead, however, like you mentioned, we got some really evened up ults coming in. However, the Reinhardt from Mercury Cougars is about to get caught right in the Dragons.
Oh, the Dragons splitting Mercury Cougars apart, and Wombat caught in the middle. That's going to be a quick fight win for Lightbringers, and the Hanzo fight by itself is going to allow Lightbringers to get a lot of their other ults up close to usability, like the Beat and the Shatter.
Deciding that technology was no good, Dork switches back to a more primitive yet more civilized age, if you're an Obi-Wan fan. And that bow and arrow immediately did some work. Not sure how the Dragons factors into primitive technology, but I'm sure it's somewhere in there in the annals of history. Sonic Arrow marking the entirety of the Mercury Cougars team as they just get on the elevator to take some high ground from the Lightbringers. I love watching that. I wonder if they heard the elevator music. Field's getting spent and really... Oh, and they're opening with a Diva Bomb. Big bomb gets the Reinhardt. A Shatter completely wasted. It does get...
The Shatter does... The Shatter allows a big nade to come out from Cypher there. And that purple is going to allow a lot of cleanup here, and Torque Hanzo putting in work with the nano boost even.
I keep forgetting that it's not about the shatter itself. It's about Cypher's nano grenade that comes out afterwards.
It's all about the follow-up.
Unbelievable. The purple goes in, the picks come in from Lightbringers despite Mercury Cougars racking them up as well. But then Dork's arrows just find heads. Gets the nano boost as well, and that definitely helps.
We do have the free fight win tire. If it does manage to get a pick, Ex Machina gonna hold it here. See if he just drops it on them right now. Nope. Trap there. Zarya's gonna go down to that around the corner. And without the Zarya here, Lightbringers slowly going to push Mercury Cougars out.
Dragons doesn't always get a kill, but it always, if it doesn't get a kill, zones out the enemy team, and that split them right down the middle, letting K-Boogie get nicely ripped apart by Lightbringers. And like I said, just ends the push. A D-Mech on Diva!
That's no good. That's gonna stop.
She's dead. Oh. She's just jumping right off the map, and the Lucio even sped her to her death. I think that's a good decision for Mercury Cougars, rather than waste time trying to get her back in.
Definitely want to keep the ult charge on the Diva here, as it looks like is going to save up for a let's all press Q kind of fight.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I wonder which is going to come first, the big ults or the rally. My assumption would be that they try a push with the rally, see if they can get some kills, and if that fails, start ripping out the Diva Bomb, rip out the Grav. Are they going to take the elevator again? There go, yep, rally comes out first. There's that loose going straight for the Reinhardt. He gets away, and a Nana Sleep Dart comes in, and there's that fight winner.
Bomb on dueling.
Kills for both of them!
Gonna get one each, but trading evenly is not what you want on offense here. The nano boost on the Diva is going to keep Lightbringers contesting the point. Just going down is big, but that is going to be answered by the Zarya. Hammer down, looking to maybe try and save this fight, but with the reinforcements coming in, Lightbringers is going to be able to take this without giving up a tick, and that was the ults from Mercury Cougars. They're looking to swap it up now after that fail.
Right, I definitely can't agree with throwing out the Shatter that late into the fight with only 2 Mercury Cougars left on the point. Possibly they were hoping a Lucio would be able back in a little faster, but the distance on Volskaya compared to the spawn advantage of Lightbringers is just too immense. You
got to give credit to the Tire as well, taking out that Brigitte healing aura immediately.
Instantly starts the fight at a 5v6. It's such a difficult disadvantage to overcome, and Mercury Cougars now pulling out
once again Mercury Cougars, and that's going to result in the Zarya kill. Is answered back, and Dork has been doing most of the damage, but Coxbox with the charge on the Son of Sphinx is going to mean that fight goes in Lightbringers' favor.
It's interesting to see how Lightbringers just pushed Mercury Cougars so far back out, despite the picks coming in from Mercury.
A well-placed Dragons coming in from Dork there, splitting the team. Gonna swap over to the Widow now that that ult is down to contest the Pharah and Widow coming out from Mercury.
I like it. I also like how swiftly it bore fruit.
Yep,
Dork has
already paying off.
Dork didn't really super impress me coming out of the gate with his Widowmaker, but clearly he's showing that he can put the time in when it's necessary to make it count.
And it's gonna immediately force to swap. Dying over to the McCree from Chesh.
And Wombat wins the Widowmaker duel. Looks like Dork just can't catch a break from his purple-skinned counterpart, and now Mercury Cougars has the in. They have a minute left to take the point, and as Volskaya maps tend to go, it's either a snowball of points or an overtime last-ditch effort as every ult in the game gets released onto the point. Reinhardt from Lightbringers charges away the Mercury Cougars, gets countercharged. Coalescence, a big shatter, takes K-Boogie down. Doesn't get to do anything, but Wombat and Son of a Sphinx are just cleaning up Lightbringers left and right. Big bomb goes out, catching both tanks. Widowmaker gets picked off. Lightbringers just lighting up the kill feed.
A lot of resources.
And that's it.
Yeah, a lot of resources already used before that Diva Bomb comes out, and in the desperate struggle to try to get a leg up in that fight, it's gonna take advantage of that.
No sooner than the words about Dork come out of my mouth than he practically reaches up and dope slaps me as he rips apart Cougars. absolutely outstanding display from everyone
They
involved.
gotta run straight on the point. Lucio helping to get there in time, and they've swapped back to Goats for this final engage. Does get the D.Va. If they can get this D-Mech early, that is fairly
Big
large.
shot onto Dork. He goes down, but he's not dead. He lives long enough to take out a Lucio. Could be big,
But
now it's all red.
Lightbringers was not ready for that initial push in. Pulse Bomb does land on the Reinhardt, but doesn't get anyone, and the Brigitte's going to take out the Tracer. These OT spawns are not going to be kind to Lightbringers. Going to try to get 3 on the point all at once at the end, but waiting just that little bit longer to not completely trickle onto point is going to cost them the contest entirely, and Mercury pulls that one out from the
jaws of definite defeat, yeah. Watching the Brigitte stun that Tracer just as she was about to jump on the point was infinitely clutch, getting them a guaranteed 2-0 lead into Lightbringer's push.
Ghosts didn't work to start. This other comp didn't work. Let's try Goats again.
Surprise Goats never makes anyone happy to receive, especially when you're caught without the area damage to really deal with it. They had a great Widowmaker on Dork. They had a great damage and heals. But a swinging Reinhardt charging in at a D.Va with a bull rush and everyone else onto the point, that's just a whole lot of damage and HP coming at you.
Alright, I'm gonna run something a little different on defense though. Not looking for that brawl that did win them the second point. I'm gonna go with a Sombra Hanzo. I don't think we've seen this DPS duo out from either team quite yet. Oh, well, Lightbringers gonna take a page out of Mercury's book, and looks like they're gonna retaliate with some good old Goats themselves.
Goats is definitely popular for attacking Volskaya.
That's a little different.
Yeah, I can't fault them for wanting to give it a go. Bringing in Dork on the Doomfist though, that'll be super interesting.
No Brigitte with it. Interesting. Seems to be the core with that. Lucio Ana. Never mind. Alright, we spoke it out of existence. Back to Ghost we go.
The caster curse, but let's see how the defense works out. I'm very, very, very interested. Wombat starting out cloaked, of course, hanging out on the right side, waiting to see what Lightbringers are going to do. They're taking the exact same path of the Mercury Cougars, except they're going, and they are going straight into contest.
The Zarya bubble saving the hack from Wombat is going to keep that push alive for the Goats composition, and their Goats is going to do what it does best, slowly win out that all-out brawl, especially when you're up against a Sombra Hanzo that did not get that initial hack out on the Rhine.
I feel like we're watching the exact same offense, but in reverse and with a Hanzo Widowmaker. Literally, both tanks fell to the initial hammer box. And then just one after another, the defenders just fall. The sniper can't really do much to get the picks off, and here come the offense. Now it's 7 minutes to finish the match.
Alright, we'll see if Lightbringers can do any better than Mercury did on the snowball. Chesh does have the Dragon Strike to try and split this Goats comp, see if he tries to pull that out early. Hasn't used it yet. The Shatter, though, picking up a few kills. They're gonna Shatter Dragon, but that only picks up one.
Oh, wow! Unbelievable! Lightbringers now lighting up the kill feed once again! I don't know how many times I'm gonna say that until it stops happening.
That's going to be a clean take. No OT spawns from Mercury means that they are going to be able to contest the time. Big sleep dart onto
Rally
Wombat.
rally on the point, giving Azaria a massive as Chase comes in on the map and just gets blown away by a fire strike. All 6 Lightbringers are there. Shatter comes out from Coxbox. They can't do anything. Wombat once again on the Tracer, not able to get onto the point. Lightbringers just wow.
Lightbringers able to get that initial pick on the rush onto point B. Hanzo may be holding his ult for a little bit too long. I would have liked to seen that earlier to split up Lightbringers and force a split fight, maybe take it. They split, but nevertheless, they're going to need an absolute miracle hold here to. Yeah, actually, no, they've already they can't win the series.
They can only force a tie.
With the draw. Even with the draw here, Lightbringers is going to be up 2-0. So in a kind of suddenly, Lightbringers has won the series.
It is rather anticlimactic. For the record, I guess now we can start talking class. That's the way a Goat snowball should look.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you want. You have not really the alts coming in, but you have the focus. You get the picks, and despite losing a Reinhardt out of it, the trade was totally worth it. The kill feed lights up with 2 Lightbringers picks immediately, one of them support. Yes, you lost the Reinhardt, but even with Coxbox down, the Lightbringers were able to just keep racking up the Mercury kills. Coxbox gets back in time to even contribute to the final take. Now we're going to see them come out onto the point. It looks like they're running... I don't know what they're running. It looks like they are going to set up and no,
they're gonna
start trying some strats out. They know they won.
How quick can Mercury Cougars find out about this? Sombra is going to be suspecting this.
Yep, Sombra's got him.
Yep, gonna spot that out.
Wombat knows exactly what's going on, but is it too late? I don't know. They've already gotten here. Now they're set up. Bastion sets up a little outside of the Arisa, but the Pharah's already down.
Take care of the Pharah as soon as possible. Get that initial annoyance down.
Getting Bastion a little closer to the edge. Nice purple on the Bastion. That means he can't heal himself, can't get healed, but there goes the Ana. Coxbox gets taken out pretty early. That's interesting. They still have both tanks on the Mercury Cougar. They still have Asari on the Mercury Cougars side, but it looks like Lightbringers are going to start setting up on the point. Mercy reses Coxbox on the Arisa. They've set up. They only needed a third. Good game, Mercury Cougars. You definitely gave it your all.
Play of the game.
And it looks like we're having some slight technical difficulties. Dear friend Sly, it sounds like he might be back on. But again, Lightbringers has now officially taken. They do still get to play one more map, as in with Overwatch League and other Overwatch professional formats. Map differential is a huge thing. In every season Overwatch Pretenders has played so far, map differential has been the deciding factor in who gets to make it into the playoffs. That being said, with Mercury Cougars losing on the Evil Skya map, they will get to pick the 4th map, which will be a pure escort map.
Those picks going to be between Rialto and Junkertown.
I still don't know which of those maps I hate.
It's a hard decision to pick the lesser of two evils between those two maps.
I definitely like being cheeky on Rialto more than I like being cheeky on Junkertown, but I'm a Roadhog player. So
That makes sense.
That's fair.
Makes a lot of sense. Well, looks like we will be going to Rialto. Reddy's not quite out from either teams. Once again, like Freakwood has said, all about map differential here, and that is still very important.
If Mercury Cougars can take this one up, that is definitely a good thing for them. That reduces their differential to Lightbringers by 2. It also puts them ahead above anyone else who doesn't take as many maps against them.
-2 is a very big difference from -4.
Oh, yeah. Now, big stuff here for Mercury Cougars, again, since they have such a sizable... This is the part where they get to try new things with maybe different players they haven't comboed up before. Again, Overwatch Pretenders being a learning league. We definitely do like being competitive, and of course we love winning. But this is a learning league, and here we have now possibly no swaps coming in. Everyone has played, so they have satisfied the Overwatch Pretenders requirement of every player who is able to make a game is playing at least one map.
Already looking for how other teams are doing. I don't know if we have any updates on that. I can scroll through the Discord a little bit, see what we have possibly.
So we had Skyhounds playing. So we had Alpine Wolves versus Breakthrough. They played at 7. They should be done by now. Skyhounds and Toxic Storm started at the same time we did, so they might also still be going strong. It'll definitely be interesting to see how those maps turn out. Again, haven't played yet. Very exciting first week. And the chat is filling with poor Team USA. Favorites to make it to the finals of the World Cup this year, and yet they got obliterated in round one.
Easily decimated. We'll see how their opponents keep going through the tourney.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly, now that USA is out, I get to Canada without feeling bad about it.
Yes.
They 3-0'd Paris, who was a really strong team.
Yep, definitely taking France out real fast.
Yeah, that was amazing. I honestly would also love it if South Korea got knocked out in the first round. Just, I like that.
Be absolute mayhem. I don't know if that's
it can't happen. That team is so unbelievably stacked with just kings of the game.
Be honest, I haven't been keeping up with World Cup very closely.
Yeah, I only followed Team USA and then tried to watch some of the other games. Couldn't really get into it, but I did watch. But they showed all the teams' lineups for the intro today, and they just brought out South Korea's team, and it was like, oh look, it's Jonak. Oh look, it's Carpe, and it's oh my goodness. And it looks like we're gonna get started now with Mercury Cougars and Lightbringers. Final map, Rialto. Oh boy, let's see how these two teams handle this. We got to see a good Doomfist brawl last time. Sly and I were together casting.
Oh, the Doomfists were off.
Yeah, it was just like the people's elbow coming out. It was like the RKO out of nowhere. Just watching these two players go at it.
Instead of the Doomfist from Lightbringers, we're going to be getting the Farragon that dominated so much on Oasis. See if Mercury Cougars did have that halftime discussion on how to deal with it, when we've definitely got some major Lightbringers on this initial bridge. We got Hog, Lucio, Farah, and the Orisa to all try and end your life before you get to do anything.
They're definitely going for maximum boop comp, and I really appreciate the gumption that takes. I've seen entire teams quit in ladder matches when faced with the overwhelming boops, and I honestly I blame them a lot because that's major toxicity and no one loves that. But I can't really fault them for that kind of severe reaction. It's just so infuriating.
It's one of the most quick leaders.
Right. Now, I can't decide who my MVP of the game is yet, but I'm definitely going to have to go with either Xmada or Cypher. But let's see how Xmada does on the far. It looks like Mercury Cougars bringing in that very standard Reinhardt Zarya, which is exactly what Boop Comp wants to see. It looks like they might just be going for a standard pulled pork, though, as neither Orisa nor Hog were really in a position to do anything interesting. He said as Ana got dropped in by a halt. Coxbox
Hape finding a very early kill onto Dork there, and Chess also finding the opposing DPS is going to make this a 5v4 despite that boot pull-off. Orisa staying alive with that Fortify is going to stave off the Reinhardt assault, and this pulled pork combo slowly retreating back. The Rein shield not ever, and it's slowly going to be taken down.
But yet, as the casters continue to comment, what should have— oh no! Reinhardt charge away, but Hog said no. It's interesting to see pulled pork always running into that Reinhardt shield as one of the home. Oh, and then Ana gets yanked in again. If I were Chazzy right now, I would be a little upset. Yep, and there's the chat. Oof, my bones. Oof. Doing a pulled pork with the halt and then the hook's supposed to follow up is difficult, as you typically end up pulling Reinhardt with you. And then Reinhardt shields everyone, and your hook finds no one. So breaking the shield, as they finally did at the end of that fight there, exactly what. But it looks like Pup is doing his job on Sombra, ticking off the backline and keeping them separated from the rest of the front, as now they re-engage. Son of Sphinx's Reinhardt coming in, again, bringing that shield, keeping that hook from happening.
Is going to find the pick before the Sombra gets onto him, though. Chess does get out the opposing main tank, so we'll see how this main tank versus no main tank team does. It is a 4v4, so and definitely looking to see Mercury slowly keep pushing this up.
Yeah, Roadhog losing his cooldowns. It's like Pharah without her wings. He just kind of lumps along with damage.
Walking battery. So, Lightbringer's going to do the smart thing here and regroup. Gonna initiate with the Hog ult to take care of the shield, wanting to
big
shatter
hit.
off of that though. Very
And the follow-up is there.
Shatter not quite finding its mark after that Hog ult almost breaks the Rhine shield is going to mean that Mercury Cougars takes this first point in reasonable time of time left to complete the rest of the match.
They've got 4 minutes left on the clock, which is definitely reasonable for Rialto. It's said that Rialto's point is one of the hardest nuts to crack on the map, but once you get past it, theoretically it should be smooth sailing. Coming around this to point B, though, is a really interesting place. There is no real choke. There are ways around everything in this particular part of the map. Mercury Cougars look like they're not even going to bother with it. They are just going to march that payload right at the center. Papa Sambo's going to go.
Very, very low con box getting purpled while swinging. The grab is going to look to change this fight away, but the beat drop is going to keep everyone alive. And the Shatter getting
Glorious Shatter!
Very large is going to only ends up getting 1 kill, maybe a little bit less coming out to keep them away, but they are still going to slowly win this fight. Coxbox coming back in with the shield. Turns around and gets Chesh, but not before Chesh does get the Ana though.
He does pull out the blade, get the Ana, gets shattered immediately. Decent trade in terms of defense for offense, and now Mercury Cougars is showing that they can clean it up too. Papa on the Sombra falls, but it does enough damage to take down the Dork. And a nano on the Reinhardt coming out at the last minute is enough to finish off the rest of the... Oh, Exmata says, I
possibly
disagree.
speaking a little bit too soon. Sunastink's not going to be able to that he was going to come out with. And their blade, the focus fire definitely not there. The Genji staying on point long enough to get that ult and then start going to town. So looking to improve that focus fire going forward for Mercury.
Just when I thought Exmata was the Pharah to beat, then he pulls out a blade after... It's difficult not to make the comparison. Chesh pulls a blade, gets a kill, Shattered dies. Exmata pulls a blade, saves the point. I mean, that's just clutch play right there from your DPS.
Well, going into this fight, we do have opposing grabs. Definitely the one who can find a big one first is going to be it. Aeon gonna get 4 Meteor Strike. Boom.
There's not really much more to say about that, is there? Boom.
No, there
Dork
isn't.
cleans up the point. 2 from the strike, 1 from his uppercut, and then just 1, you know, it's kind of an afterthought almost. Tracer's not really worth his time.
But at least Mercury did not use their grab, so they are going to have a grab EMP, possibly Shatter to clean up the weapon. Only if they can avoid Coxbox ruining this fight with his own Shatter.
I don't fault Papa for not engaging in that fight. I like Dork trying to spot them out, almost catching Papa with a spare fist bullet. But now Papa is in prime position to start this, but they have to take the initiative, or like you said, Coxbox is just going to end it prematurely. Oh, I get the name.
Oh, possibly the Shatter coming down here. There's the EMP. Going to prevent the Shatter. Shatter coming down after that is going to leave a lot down. Dork without any of his abilities, kind of a sitting duck here. The sleep onto... It's going to leave Aeon able to contest for a little bit, but this fight should be going Mercury Cougars' way, unless Dork can get some big kills here. The Nano Blade possibly doing it.
It's just both Rhines went dead and you figure that was Mercury. But the cart wasn't moving because Lightbringers fighting. And now Lightbringers gets to come back, and despite the disadvantage, ooh, but Mercury Cougars...
But now Mercury swinging this back their way in the 3rd act of this fight, and looks like they're finally going to be able to complete that Nano Rhine swing to initiate. Have a little bit more contesting though once again from Lightbringers, and we possibly swinging back the other way.
Chesh's High Noon finds no one. DPS, Dork, and Exmata duo killing everyone. Exmata bloating. Just dash after dash, reset after reset. Lightbringers gets completely stalled. They got completely obliterated over a fight that lasted almost a minute and a half.
Both teams won 2 fights in that single fight.
Oh, poor Papa. Forced to contest the point as a lone Sombra. Get back there. It's not going to be enough. There's no way they'll make it back in time. And, of course, the caster is proved wrong. And his Big Daddy Tube on Lucio, of all. Manages to pull it out, but Exmata
having the speed is definitely not going to be able to contest that point for long.
Puppey
Getting
pulling out
around
the
as
stops.
long as possible, getting a lot of that objective time, but ultimately no push to get point number 2. And the story of that was Mercury Cougars starting fights off strong, but not having the focus fire able to clean up the rest of the fight.
It was so clutch of Lightbringers to not re-engage when they weren't ready. They waited, they survived, and once they had all of their team members ready, they brought the 3-3 back together at the end of that fight there, and were able to sweep the Mercury Cougars off the point again. It's just unbelievable to watch Xmada and Dork as a duo play together. Dork goes sweeping into the backline, and Xmada just, no matter what he's playing, the Pharah, the Genji, just unbelievable. Getting the kills, cleaning up all the mess that the tanks are leaving behind.
Offensive Bastion?
Offensive Bastion. It's got to be Pirate Ship. It's got to be. And then hopefully
There's not even a shield here at
they
the
have
moment.
Winston. A Winston, I guess.
That does not Winston does not make a pirate ship.
No, it doesn't. Let's see what happens. Winston's hanging up.
Attackers
Definite.
incoming in 30 seconds.
This is not a comp. Like,
Come on, Lightbringers, do it. This is quick play, baby. This is what it takes. Granted, now to be fair, Lightbringers seems like this moment, but this map win would be very good for them as well. As we
starting
mentioned.
off 4-0 week 1 would be big.
It's so huge. Now Cypher on the Bastion is hanging out in spawn. Let's see what happens. We might
Looks like
have
they
a
are going to run this comp against a double sniper with that Ryan Zarya that
There they
Mercury
go.
is favor.
The payload.
Oh, they're starting out pretending to dive, but Shesh just rips apart. Cypher now on the.
Very good
I think-
initial pick. Dork is going to swing around, look to get Big Daddy. Puppey, trying to match Sesh kill for kill here, is going to get 1. And in a 6v4 scenario, Cypher is going to slowly go down, being that immobile Bastion that he is. And Mercury is going to clean up this very interesting offense from Lightbringers.
Mercury Cougars definitely came into this with that double. Alright, it doesn't matter what they're going to throw out there. We're just going to kill it before it becomes a threat. And kill it they did. Chesh on the Hanzo getting off that early headshot onto the Mercy is such an amazing shot. Son of Sphinx on the Reinhardt, clearly showing that you need to be bringing something to this fight that matters.
These triple DPS from the Tracer, Pharah, Genji not getting the heals that they need, being so far deep in and being all kinds of low HP are slowly going to be picked off. That was a pretty long extended fight, and they are going to swap over to a Diva and a Doomfist even. So they are going to cut to the chase here with 2:45 remaining.
Now it looks like the begging my pardon. It looks like the Lightbringers are gonna think about taking the right side, running a Junkrat. Oh, and here come the dragons. That eliminates.
Gonna catch Cox though, and not gonna be able to escape. But that final jump is going to get the kill with that dragon step. Rayon
Getting melted pretty quickly despite having that Ananate on it.
Chesh is going to find another headshot onto Xmada, and the Doomfist also very well. Mercury Cougars putting up a very here.
It looks like Mercury Cougars finally have found. They've got the double snipers doing some really good work, and the tanks are in great position despite, or rather possibly in spite of, a Junkrat that is just zoning out damage. You don't really see the Junkrat a lot in the kill feed, but the hits are coming in. It's doing the work needed.
And even with all these teamfight wins, Mercury is continuing to bank up ultimates. Kind of approaching 6 here, looking definitely not wanting to use all of them right here. Maybe the Tire to win this fight initially, or the massive grab with a Nano Rhine swinging into it, and the Dragon Strike is definitely going to be the fight win. Getting the Primal Rage for it even. So
Well, that's a
fight
team.
win. And getting one, but Xmada does have the blade coming up here. See if maybe Puppey's Tire can sniff him out.
I wonder how Mercury's gonna get into this. Given that the blade is coming, and it could be a nano blade. We all know that good. Oof. That's a nasty combo. There it
Here
goes!
it comes.
Blade comes out, Dash comes back in, the backline wasn't where they thought. Tire fights
The
him
Tire
immediately.
Alright, Puppey.
Wow.
I feel good about that. The sleep though to counter the Losing sleep coming on the Cogs box.
Wow.
Diva Bomb not going to be able to find anything. Dork does find Puppet, and Cypher getting a pick on the Lucio as well. Lightbringers, despite the Nano Blade not winning, are going to win the rest of the fight and is going to finally start moving this payload here through the choke point.
It's a great trade Lightbringers was willing to make. I think they knew he got the kill. He got immediately ulted, which is great because that draws out the blade. Or the tire. They used the tire to solo Genji, and I think they were fine with that. They knew that they were going to be able to finish it out with the rest of their ult, so they took the chance and they made it happen.
And we got to mention this very aggressive push up here, just leaving the Ana on cart to push. Only one on payload. Might leave Mercury Cougars enough time to recontest, but they're not even going to get to the point because the kills are coming in.
It's definitely not the same time that Mercury. Yeah, it's definitely not the same time Mercury. But hey, the point's the point.
Yep, and you're going to have 2.5 this to basically be, and have to see how Mercury Cougars can, after what was looking like was going to be a full hold.
And now we have the Widow duel. Papa on Widow, but Dork kicks him out!
Very, very quick Widow duel ends, and Mercy Diva way back in the back line, keeping Mercury Cougars all the way holed up back here. The Lightbringers, once again, leaving Cypher on the payload to just push while the rest of them the way back in on third point.
Diva Bomb finds the Hanzo despite the Rhine Shield being there and available. Not lucky getting caught out of position like that, and Lightbringers just doing one of the most aggressive plays up that I've ever seen as Cypher.
Just sniping everyone coming out of spawn.
Sharpshooter
push the payload to
oh jeez.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Just that's some real spawn camping right there.
That was rough. That was rough times, buddies. I definitely feel for Mercury Cougars on that one, but I mean, at the same time, watching Dork get the sharpshooter, I can't believe Dork isn't getting play of the game for that.
I'm a little sad about that.
That was a pick fest. Now, to be fair, this was an amazing moment.
Lots
by
of swinging.
The tanks. Yeah, I love watching a Reinhardt who doesn't have ult yet go swinging into a grav and then just get ult, maybe in 2 hits.
Hits. Shoutouts to Cypher, not with, but definitely had it on that second push there.
Once again, Cypher just putting up the numbers with his healing. That Ana, his grenades, his rifle, just unbelievable. I still think I have to go with Xmon as my personal favorite MVP for the match. No matter what he was playing, he put up the plays that made the fight happen.
And off of the back of those plays, going to bring Lightbringers to a fairly convincing, after map 1 was very close, but a fairly convincing 4-0 nonetheless.
They definitely pulled it out, and what a great way to end the first week of Overwatch Tender. This has been Threepwood with Sly casting for you. We hope to see you again soon.
See y'all later.